Stay tuned as we take a look at this Marvel Legends worthy Captain America from Avengers Endgame. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. Today we are taking a look at a figure that I've had in my possession for quite some time and I'm very excited to finally get open. It is of course the Captain America from Avengers Endgame. Now this figure was codenamed the Power and Glory Captain America, and that is because they wanted to secretly hide the fact that Captain America is worthy. And as you can see in the packaging right there, you can see the hammer. Thor's hammer is in the package. And yeah, this is very good looking MCU Captain America. Possibly the best MCU Captain America we have had to date. And that scene in Endgame where he actually picks up the hammer and fights Thanos is definitely one of my favourite scenes in the MCU altogether, do you know? So I'm very happy to have this figure, and it's got a nice interchangeable unmasked Steve Rogers head, which seems to resemble Chris Evans more than some other figures we've had recently. You can see the shield's a little beat up, and he even has the scale armor from Avengers Endgame. So yes, very happy to open this up. There we have Cap on the side, and again some promo art on the back. And as you can see, he is not associated with any particular wave. I believe in the US he was a Walmart exclusive, but in the UK he was available in a few different places. His little bio reads, Steve Rogers prepares for the ultimate battle to save the universe and channels all of his strength as Captain America. So as I said, this could quite possibly be the best MCU version we have of Cap in Marvel Legends form, and we shall find that out right now as we open him up. And here we have Cap out of the box in all of his power and glory. See what I did there? So yeah, I should really mention that this video is full of Endgame spoilers, because if you didn't know, of course Captain America's worthy to pick up Thor's hammer. It's been teased throughout the MCU, it come at no surprise, but it was an epic moment in Endgame nevertheless. So this is what he comes with in the box, all of his accessories. It comes with a shield, which is a little bit beaten up. I've seen a lot of people customize their shields of this figure and make cracks in it, just like Thanos does in Endgame, which is very tempting to do to my own as well, I must admit. He comes with a hammer, which is a little bit bigger than some of Thor's previous hammers, and then of course he comes with an unmasked Steve Rogers head. So this in itself is a nice looking figure. And I've got one of these little effect pieces that come with Thor and a few others, and you can literally wrap that round the hammer and make a decent display piece just with Cap and his lightning on the hammer, which make a good display piece. But yeah, Cap is looking really good. He is definitely worthy of that hammer. So let's zoom in and take a look at the figure without the accessories on top, because it is probably the best Cap figure we have so far. So taking a closer look at this Cap, I do really like the cowl and the face sculpt. The cowl's a separate piece, but unfortunately it seems to sit a little bit too high, and you can see that gap above the ears. And if you follow it round, you can see the line underneath where the hairline should be. So it's sort of like the cowl needs pushing down on the head a little bit more. And you may be able to do that warming it up, but unfortunately he seems to have a bit of a gap now underneath his head. So you can see that. It's not a major issue when you've got him displayed on your shelf. You're not going to notice it, as from the front it does look good. And I like how the cowl sits on top of the skull and creates like a shadow under his eyes, so that it's a bit more mysterious. But the main attraction is of course this new upper torso with all these trademark Captain America scales, and of course now after Civil War and Infinity War he has got the Avengers A back on his shoulder where it should be, and I like the new scales. On the shoulder, the scales, the shoulder pads seem to be a separate piece, so it does unfortunately hinder articulation going up there, so you can't get it to 90 without the shoulder pad sort of bending in a little bit, which is slightly bit disappointing, especially when you want to get him holding his hammer up high. But it's not a big issue, but you want to be careful for warpage. The rest of the figure is what we've seen many times before from a Captain America figure. Separate bout, sloppy paint on the front there on some of those white sections. But the legs, I assume we've seen these before. I'm not going to check with every single Cap I've ever seen. These joints here on the ankle are a little bit stiff, so make sure you warm them up. But yeah, the legs of what we've seen before. Moving around to the back, no peg holes or nothing like that. And yeah, his hands are bigger though, I should mention that. So from previous Captain Americas that look similar, these hands are definitely bigger, but you can still swap and change with your other Captain Americas. And of course, he can hold his shield no problem. And I should mention the shield is a little bit battle worn, as you can see. And I've seen a lot of people online sort of cut it up so it resembles that final battle in Endgame. And I must admit, it's very tempting and I might even do it myself. But obviously Cap holds his hammer, best way, hold his shield, best way to do that is take the hand off, slide the shield on like so, and then plug the hand back in, and then it will stay there nice and tight. It's not going to fall off. He holds his shield. He does it well. But then the other hand is, of course, open hand, and we haven't seen one of these on a Cap for a while, and that is because it is to hold Thor's hammer. So let's stick that in there, and there you go. Captain America is worthy. And if you think the hammer looks a little bit bigger than usual, that's because it is. If I bring that in comparison to a previous Thor's hammer, you can see that Thor's hammer is usually a little bit smaller in Marvel Legends form. So this new Captain America version is a little tiny bit bigger, and it does look different in person. I'm not complaining, I do like the bigger version, but there is a little bit of a size difference there. So yes, there is your figure. Looks really good, but I want to see what this interchangeable head looks like. Now, believe me when I say this head sculpt looks better in person than it probably does coming across on camera. It definitely resembles Chris Evans from certain angles, and I hope you can see that on camera. Probably the best unmasked Steve Rogers face sculpt we have had in MCU form for Marvel Legends. Very happy with it. What do you think? Steve Rogers and Chris Evans has always been hard to get with this digital face printing technology, but I do think this is probably the best version Hasbro have done so far. I like the hair, I like the quiff, and yeah, it works well for Cap. And here we have a timeline of Captain America within the MCU in Marvel Legends form, or at least an amalgamation of that. So going down the line, here we have World War II Cap from this brand new 80th anniversary line that recently come with Peggy Carter. Very pleasantly surprised by this figure. Moving on, we have the Captain America from the very first Avengers film from way back in 2012, which I believe was a Walmart exclusive. And believe it or not, if you missed out on this figure, we're going to get it reissued in Wave 3 Endgame coming out in October, but with this head. So we're getting like an amalgamation of those two figures. This is an outdated book. We shouldn't be getting this in 2019. Don't know what Hasbro are doing, but it is an iconic outfit. Moving on to probably my favourite Captain America outfit within the MCU. It is, of course, the stealth suit from the Winter Soldier, but he's got the unmasked head that come with this Captain America, which is from the 10th anniversary 2-pack with Crossbones, but he basically looks like he does in Age of Ultron and, of course, Civil War. Moving on to Infinity War, we have the inaccurate Wakanda shields, and then I don't know who this guy is, but it's not Chris Evans or Steve Rogers. It's some random guy with a beard. Not good face sculpt, especially considering how well Hasbro are doing at the minute. Then we have another inaccurate movie figure, unfortunately, as the Quantum Round suits were not silver, they were not grey, they were white. And he also never wore his cowl while wearing that suit. But again, you can probably mix and match. I've seen a lot of people customise that to white. But yes, Quantum suit. And then, of course, right on the end, we have worthy Captain America from Endgame. So yes, lots of MCU Captain Americas. You will find a place for all of them within your display. And I'm very curious to see which bodies this new, improved Steve Rogers head fits on. So my first thought, of course, was does it fit on this Quantum Round suit? And if I pop that off, the peg hole seems a little bit too small. So it will sit on the peg and you might have to Dremel it a little bit or maybe heat it up and maybe it will pop on, but it doesn't naturally pop on there. My second idea was the stealth suit, as it does appear at the start of Endgame when he's on the ship talking to Black Widow, but no, the head doesn't seem to pop on here and the skin tone seem a little bit different. Again, you Dremel it, you can glue it, but as you can see, doesn't work. And why not? Let's try this classic Cap as well. And as you can see, it's got a very long neck peg, and again, the head doesn't pop on. So you can Dremel it, maybe, but as you can see, neck's too long, doesn't work. But it might fit on the new figure if they do any type of retooling. And then one more, here we have Tony Stark from that 10th anniversary 2-pack. Let's pop off his head and see if we can get Steve in his suit. And the head doesn't pop on, but again, you can get some glue tack, maybe Dremel it, get that to work. And then you have Steve Rogers in his, shall we say, funeral attire. for the end of Endgame. And then a quick close-up of the previous Unmasked head sculpt for Steve Rogers from that Crossbones 2-pack and the 10th anniversary line compared to this new Captain America from Endgame. Both look good, both will work on your display in different sections, but I do definitely prefer this new one. And then here we have Captain America compared to the Build-A-Figure armoured Thanos. And yeah, these will look great. Again, you're going to have to display and pose better than I do. But just for a quick pose, they just look great on the shelf. Again, I think the height comparison is really good for the two figures. It's a shame that this Thanos isn't movie accurate. The weapon's not perfect. He obviously didn't wear the gauntlet at the final battle. Because obviously it was the Thanos from 2014. He didn't even have the gauntlet then. But no, these two look great. And I'm sure you guys will be able to get them in much better poses than I quickly did on my table. But yeah, iconic scene, forever moving forward in the MCU. And I think this Captain America is a must for anyone who's a fan of the MCU and loves Endgame. So final thoughts, how can you not like this figure? As I said, it probably is the best MCU Captain America we have. And I do like the inclusion of both weapons and of course the unmasked head. I do think I am going to customise mine though and definitely cut the shield just like it was attacked by Thanos in Endgame. And I'll maybe do another video once I've got the Mark 85 and I can do a little display and see what my Endgame figures are looking like all together. But yeah, really happy with this. And if you're a fan of Endgame, fan of Captain America, fan of Marvel Legends in general, then this is a solid pickup from an iconic scene in the highest grossing movie of all time. So yeah, very happy. You let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you manage to track this guy down very easily? I know it was sought after because everyone was on an Endgame hype when it first came out. But yes, I'm very happy. So as always, check out the videos tab and also the Avengers Endgame playlist where I review all the figures from the film. And I still have more to come. I still have Wave 2 and Wave 3 to review on this channel. So I'll do lots of comparisons moving forward. And as I said, maybe another video once I have all my figures on the shelf showing off a little Endgame display. But you let me know what you think in the comments below. But most importantly, please, please, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much. And as always, my name is Dan W. And I shall see you on the next one.